Abusua mama kwa abasronko so e de ba Ghana Politics Avenue so. Abusua mama ye mbonra ye semu. So subscribe ya no subscribe no a share. No a hit notification bell no so ama send ba political headlines so na de bi ababedo. Abusua mama ye nko ye semu. Abusua ye saso gina chema Wontumi asem no so biem. Abusua asan se Andra eye judge no e de ne final ruling e de ba e se chema Wontumi enko dem and as of sentencing him to 20 years in prison no. Abusia NPP for no eye minority for more parliament for omo abaye eye omo baye abaye press conference bi a abusia omo kire se eye judge no ruling na ode baye no enye ne kwan so no na omo hwehwe ma chama Wontumi ondi boni bia because galamsey na oye no nim se ne kwan no so na omo ye ntino nya de chama Wontumi why the wadi boni bia ntino omo be file appeal say omo be yi chama Wontumi every eye prison abusia anu na NPP for press conference omo ye ne asema omo kai na mo so omo be file appeal na omo yi chama Wontumi every eye prison abusia allegedly say eye chama Wontumi NPP for no omo so omo be ye demonstration big demonstration pa against eye chama Wontumi sentence na omo de man no omo be demonstration say omo be yi chama Wontumi abusia na abra eye NPP eye national eye secretary kasa no ode brofo bi etoja o say justice cannot be selective nti no say NDC for no modem omo fa mra enye adwuma na omo hwe a ekwa omo fa so jeri chama Wontumi enye ne kwan so to me fa le appeal abusia mo mien konkotie nsema eye NPP for anase minority for ekan ye ba de akabeto so.
Our constitution guarantees every citizen the right to disagree with judicial decisions and to seek redress through the appellate process. That is precisely what we intend to do as a political party. Ladies and gentlemen, it is our considered view that Chairman Wontumi has been convicted in circumstances where there was no evidence at all to support a conviction in respect of the offense for which he has been convicted. It was never disputed that Chairman Wontumi lawfully acquired his mineral concession. It was never disputed that he lawfully acquired his mineral concession. That fact was established and accepted before the court. The central question was whether that concession had been assigned or transferred in violation of the law. It is our respected view that no evidence was adduced before the court establishing any such assignment or transfer of mineral rights by Chairman Wontumi. The prosecution could not produce any evidence to show that Wontumi had assigned his mineral right. Instead, the conviction rested on assumptions and inferences which, in our view, could not amount to proof beyond reasonable doubt. That is why we firmly believe that his conviction is a travesty of justice and has to be overturned on appeal. Fellow Ghanaians, equally disturbing is the broader context within which this prosecution has taken place. A troubling pattern is emerging in our country, a pattern where the government appears eager to shield its own while relentlessly pursuing perceived political opponents who have done no wrong. Today, the John Mahama-led NDC government may seek to celebrate this conviction as evidence of its commitment to fight against illegal mining. Where there is evidence of galamsey on a large scale engaged and supervised by leading members of John Mahama's government, we reject that narrative entirely. And I repeat, the New Patriotic Party rejects that narrative entirely. They think that The conviction of Chairman Wontumi will be the trophy to appease the Ghanaian people for their failures. This is no trophy. The Ghanaian people cannot fail to notice that while the political opponents who have done no wrong are being aggressively persecuted, questions remain unanswered regarding individuals associated with his party and government who have themselves been publicly linked to illegal mining activities. Indeed, the president himself has acknowledged that persons in his administration are involved in Galamsey. What concrete action has followed those admissions? Who are those members of the president party that are engaged in Galamsey of which the president knows of? What has become of the petition submitted to Economic and Organized Crime Office, IOCO, seeking an investigation into allegations concerning Mr. Joseph Yamin, the NDC national organizer, and Abanga Yakubu, vice chairman of the NDC? We are asking these questions. Mr. President, what has become of those investigations? What has happened to Honorable Mohammed Yakubu, NDC MP for Ahafo North South East, and his DC who was sacked from a chief's palace after they alleged that he was heavily involved in Galamsey in their traditional area? What happened to the NDC MP for Aworin, Honorable Oscar Ofori Labi, who was accused by the chiefs and the people of Aworin, as well as Ghana's coalition against Galamsey, for engaging in Galamsey? Why has the nation not witnessed the same level of urgency and determinations in those matters? Justice cannot be selective. And I repeat, justice cannot be selective. The fight against illegal mining cannot become credible only when it targets political opponents in respect of whom evidence of wrongdoing does not exist, while overlooking allegations involving others, especially from the president's own party. Ladies and gentlemen, we also wish to state that Ghana faces far greater than political persecution at a time when our nation is grappling with growing security threats, the devastating impact of illegal mining on our cocoa farmers and farming communities and areas owned by farmers, the government's inadequate response to recent flooding across the country, and the increasing menace of terrorism within the sub-region. Ghanaians expect leadership that demonstrates agency, competence, and an unwavering commitment to protecting lives, livelihoods, and national security. No government should attempt to divert public attention from those pressing national concerns through selective prosecutions designed to create the appearance of success. Finally, let me assure all members of the New Patriotic Party and the good people of Ghana that Chairman Wontumi is not alone. There is no justification for the judgment since the judge obviously ignored clear evidence exonerating Wontumi. The New Patriotic Party stands firmly with him. Our legal team has already commenced the necessary steps to challenge his judgment through the appellate process. The NPP considers Wontumi a political prisoner. The NPP considers Wontumi a political prisoner. The NPP as a political party considers Wontumi a political prisoner. Thank you very much. May God bless our homeland, Ghana.
Make a good decision. Thank you.
We do the tree one.
Tree.
I have Kati Brown with me.
I say happy, you say proud. Happy, proud, happy, proud. I love you. Let's go.
Yeah, when he was arrested initially at Yoko, he was kept for like 7 days. There was such a big gathering of the New Patriotic Party at the place. It went on and on and on until he had his bail, and then a trial has now ensued, and we have seen what has happened. But depending on what happens, perhaps if he's convicted and the news start trickling in, people are just going to start mounting or going to the Accra High Court.
Well, let's go back to our colleague Erastus Asaridonko, who did this documentary a couple of years back. Erastus, and this is where we are at this moment. Take us back to the time you were covering this documentary. Tell us exactly what you saw happening.
Thank you. So we started investigating Akonta mining and what they were doing in Samreboy way back late 2021, 2022, down to 2024. And we followed consistently. If you check with our documentary, Distraction for Gold, you will find the evidence there. We have drone footage. We have ground footage because we went as far as close to his site. We went to the site itself. There are quite a number of sites. When you go to Samreboy, you see his signposts all along the areas. He was mining in so many areas in Samreboy. We wanted to fact check, get evidence. And so we went to his site. We spoke with the security man on site to be sure that this site belongs to Akonta Mining. He confirmed. In fact, some of his people who were holding pump action guns confronted us whilst we were on the ground. And they did not deny. They indicated to us that indeed you are on the site of Akonta Mining and that we should speak to the PRO. We called the PRO, he did not respond. We sent messages to him calling for a response. That never came. But the footage you see, the drone footage you see with Chairman Wontumi's Akonta Mining leaking mining residue into the Tano River, mining inches away from the Tano River.
That's the same thing.
And in fact, violating government's own buffer zone policies that indicates that you need to move away 100 meters away from such a major river. His mining leaks, the company's mining leaks are referred to, were directed in and out of the Tano River. The second issue was his invasion of the Tano Nimre Forest Reserve. We investigated, we spoke to quite a number of people in the town. There was a confrontation at a point in time involving him and the chiefs and the Forestry Commission officials and Samatex employees, to the point that his manager, Akwoku, fought with the people who seized his equipment and were bringing it to town. Hello FM's Samson Yamiche was there. So none of this is without evidence. Every evidence you need concerning what Chairman Wontumi's Akonta Mining did to the Tano River, did to mining within the settlements and within the Tano Nimre Forest Reserve is evident. But at that point in time, I would say that the security agencies were not interested. At a point, they wanted me to do all the job for them. After bringing out the evidence, they wanted me to connect the dots for them. And I said, no, I have done my job as a journalist. You need to go to the grounds. There are witnesses who would like to speak with you. So all these footages are there. When you go to my documentary, Distraction for Gold, the drone footage, the ground footage which we shot, everything, the people who came at us with pump action guns, who said they work for Akonta Mining, their videos and everything, they are there in that documentary. So I don't see how this is so difficult for anybody. At the end of the day, we wait for the court's judgment. But if he is dismissed to go and nothing happens to anybody concerning the destruction, well, I will say that then we are in for a bigger trouble. It means that whoever is mining currently in the wrong places can go ahead and do what they like.
Must serve as a certain opening for the country's fight against illegal mining and the so-called big financiers who are behind it. And we are not prejudging Wontumi this case. The judgment is being read and all of that. But do you think this particular case is such an important one for the entirety of our fight against illegal mining?
The precedent. You see, there are others who have also destroyed a number of forest reserves and have been made to go scot-free. Talk about the Apamprama Forest Reserve. The people who started this invasion, Sir John was one of them, who was the then forestry commissioner. Well, he is no more, so you cannot talk about him now. But the other people, the companies, Heritage Imperial Mining Limited, who were mining within the Apamprama Forest Reserve without a license. And I know this for a fact because the Galam top officials who were sent to that forest to stop him, the company, I was part of it. We reported it. The reports are there. They were mining illegally. Everybody knows it. They did not have any license. And I have challenged them so many times to come up if they have any license. None. Have they been prosecuted? No. Have they been investigated? No. Some of their leaders have died. Donald Ntua, who was leading that charge, is dead. There are others who owned that company. Today, half of that forest going forward have been destroyed. There are pits and gullies in there. We are going to use the taxpayers' money to reclaim. And this is millions of dollars. But the perpetrators, those who will be charged for that, are walking free. This is the only illegal mining expose out of the many that we brought forward. This is the only one that has, indeed, with a change of government, has received some level of response with regards to prosecution. So it is yet to be known whether, indeed, justice will be served. In which way it goes, it sets a precedent. Remember, we are not out of the woods. Today, many illegal miners still continue to attack and invade. We have increased our attacks on forest reserve from 44 to 50 since this government took over. We've added 6 more to the number of forest reserves that have been attacked from 44 to 50. So it tells you that there is no precedent, there is no impunity because nobody has been punished. And they know that they can continue, invade our forest reserve, destroy it with no consequence. And at the end of the day, we use the taxpayers' money to reclaim it. Today, Gold Board is sponsoring millions of Ghana cedis to reclaim the Tano Nimre Forest Reserve that was invaded by Wontumi Sakonta Mining Limited. Why can't we have a verdict that goes ahead and say, okay, yes, this is it. We have been able to come to this. But to arrive at that verdict, you needed a concrete investigation to come up with the proper evidence, which, of course, the court will take a look at to be able to arrive at that decision. So this is a test. Whether it goes south or it goes north, is it a test of whether we are indeed ready to control the illegal mining menace.
All right. Erastus Asare, don't quote there. Also, I would say, an anti-Galamsey campaigner, would you say quick question?
I mean, when it comes to illegal mining in Ghana,
I mean,
In terms of journalism, there are very few journalists.
All the big documentaries on
very few
illegal
journalists
mining.
who can actually tell the story.
The story.
Erastus has going down to the grounds and seeing himself and reporting of this.
Exactly.
I mean, so when it comes to this, he's such a big guy. But I mean, we know now that the judge is reading the judgment in open court. Mamesi, Chairman Wontumi, Bernard Nchibo Siako, Akonta Mining Company Limited, Kwame Entry, a co-director who is at large. These are the three accused persons in this case. Akonta Mining, the big chunk of the case against them is that they had unlawfully assigned or allowed third parties to mine on their concession at Sameboy in the Western region without the approval of the minister responsible for lands and natural resources, and same being contrary to the Minerals and Mining Act. And that this case, as we know, began with a joint operation conducted between 16th and 17th of April 2025 by the state. It targeted a Akonta mining concession near the Tano Nimri Forest Reserve. Security officers arrested about 29 suspected illegal miners. One suspect, Michael Eisi Jedu, identified Henry Okum as his employer. Henry Okum was subsequently taken in, and he alleged and told investigators that he received permission from Chairman Wontumi in September 2024 to be on the site. And the case against Chairman Wontumi and the prosecution's case generally is that mining rights had been transferred without ministerial approval. Illegal mining activities were facilitated on the concession. And if you look at some of the prosecution's key witnesses, Henry Okum, who actually testified for the state, he claimed that there was no written agreement, but he had a verbal agreement with Chairman Wontumi. We had Joseph Iroko of the Minerals Commission, the legal manager. He also claimed that there was no records of approval of any mining right assignment. Chairman Wontumi denies all of that. He denies authorizing illegal mining on the site. He denies visiting the mining site. He denies ownership of the seized guns, gold, and vehicles. And he says there's no documentary evidence of any concession assignments. The prosecution relies on alleged verbal agreement, and that the illegal miners actually operated without his knowledge.
Yeah, if you just joined us, there's a special broadcast of the Sameboy Galamsey trial, and we'll get to know the judgment shortly. Our man Fatal Bayaga is in the Accra High Court, where judgment is being delivered in open court. We'll get the details of that shortly. But if you're just joining us and you don't know the facts of the case, Kwekwa Asante will be taking us through the facts of the case. But on your screen now, live shots coming from the Accra High Court, where judgment is being read in the Sameboy Galamsey trial. So Kweku, tell us, for those joining us, the people involved in the case, at least we know the Bernard Entry Boisiako, and also Kwame Entry, who is a co-director of the company, and is at large as at now, and also Akonta Mining, of course. And for those who may not necessarily be in the legal space, when they say Akonta Mining Company Limited is also a person accused,
it's a juristic
what does that mean?
Yeah, I mean, it means that Akonta Mining is a registered company, and when a company is registered, it becomes a juristic person. That is like an artificial person.
When I am sema a course of political we know so far, Chairman Wontumi sisi ade wakopi mo nsawama oko 20 years ama sisi ana NPP for sorry say ombe file application and ombe file appeal at the court say the ruling no bad it's no ready almost sam ebusuan subscribe and subscribe no share no hit notification bell so ama say political line so maybe